Let's bring in Martin Plaut. He is an author and Africa analyst at the Institute of Commonwealth Studies, and he joins us live from London. Thank you for being with us on the program, sir. Are you hopeful that a lasting ceasefire will come into effect that will eventually lead to this truce between the two warring sides?
Well, yes, I think we can be hopeful that it will take place. I mean, there's so much at stake. It is hard to see how they wouldn't agree to another ceasefire. But the problem is, this is really only a temporary sticking plaster over the issue, because we need to move from a ceasefire to negotiations, and that's a very different issue. We don't seem to be anywhere close to that. And the problem is, even if the negotiations take place, at the moment, the only people around the table are the military and the RSF, as your colleague was pointing out. And the difficulty is we need to then bring in, if we're going to have a lasting peace, we need to bring the civilians, the doctors, the lawyers, the groups that really fought for democracy in Sudan into the picture.
So you're saying they're speaking about a ceasefire at the moment. It has to lead to negotiations to have lasting peace in the country. What are some preconditions we can expect from the warring sides to be laid out on the table?
Well, they both have to really move back, because at the moment, both Hemeti and al-Burhan, the leaders of the RSF and the army, have both said, well, we're going to fight on to the end until the opposition is forced out or eliminated. Now, they both have to move back from those positions and accept that they both have a legitimate stake. But that is extremely difficult, because the RSF really was in a position where, if it had continued growing as it was, and don't forget it controls gold mines, it's supported by the Wagner Group from Russia, Putin's Wagner Group. Basically, they were in a position to outbid the army. And the army got to a point where they were, frankly, no longer the source of final, shall we say, sort of force in the country. So the army had to act. It was now or never. And, really, how can you have, as we say in Africa, how can you have two bulls in a field? Mm-hmm. They fight. And that is the big problem.
Right, and it's the Sudanese people who are caught up in all this fighting, bearing the brunt of the actions of the two sides. And the humanitarian situation is only getting worse. How much effort, time, and money do you think is needed to repair the damage done?
Oh, it's going to be years. I mean, the World Food Programme has already warned that 2.5 million people across Sudan face hunger because of the ongoing fighting. People have been flooding out of the country in every direction, up to the border with Egypt, where they've had terrible waits to get across the border. They've moved into Chad. I've been on that Chad border with Sudan. I mean, not now, but I mean, I have been there, and it's very desolate. And something like 400,000 people already in Chad from Sudan. Now, already 10, 15, maybe 20,000 are crossing into there. The strains on neighboring countries is enormous. And, it has become a regional crisis. And you have people like the Eritrean government also saying they want to be involved. Well, I mean, they have a terrible history of involvement in the region and destabilizing the situation.
All right, Martin Plaut, thank you so much for being with us here on the NewsHour and sharing that analysis with us.